Imagine trying to start like a direct competitor to Uber Eats or DoorDash tomorrow.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare.
Right. You would probably assume you need, I don't know, an army of software engineers,
Yeah.
a massive mountain of venture capital,
Mm.
and years of development just to get a working prototype off the ground.
Yeah, totally.
But what if you could launch a fully functional, hyper-local food delivery empire in just 14 days?
Mm.
And for roughly the price of, like, a used Honda Civic.
Which is wild to even think about.
It really is, because we are looking at a market that is projected to hit a staggering $1.92 trillion by the year 2029. Trillion with a T.
It's a massive pie.
Exactly. And today's deep dive is about how the barrier to entry for that trillion-dollar pie has essentially just, well, it's vanished.
Yeah.
All thanks to something called the Swiggy clone app.
Yeah, and to really grasp what a clone app is, we kind of have to look at the inspiration behind it.
Right, Swiggy.
Exactly. If you are operating in North America or Europe, you might not actually be familiar with Swiggy, but in the Indian market, it is an absolute juggernaut.
It's huge there.
Yeah. Co-founder Sri Harshamajati originally launched it under the name Bundle as a logistics platform. But today, Swiggy operates in over 500 cities.
500 cities. That's just wow.
Right. It has evolved far beyond, a teenager on a scooter dropping off a pizza. It is a massive, deeply integrated logistical ecosystem.
And the scale of their partnerships is what immediately stands out to you when you look at it. They aren't just handling the overflow for, like, the local cafe down the street.
No.
They are deeply integrated with global giants like McDonald's and Burger King. But they also weave themselves into the actual financial fabric of their users' lives.
Yeah, they really do.
Like, they partnered with Sodexo so people can pay with corporate meal cards directly inside the app.
Just brilliant.
And they teamed up with ICICI Bank to launch their own digital wallet called Swiggy Money. I mean, they effectively bypassed traditional banking friction altogether.
Right, and they didn't stop at corporate cards or fast food. They integrated with IRCTC, that's the Indian Railway Catering and Tourism Corporation, to literally deliver hot meals to passengers on moving trains.
Wait, really? On moving trains?
Yes, as they travel across the country.
That is insane logistics.
It's a logistical marvel. I mean, they are constantly pushing the boundaries of what a delivery network can actually do. Back in January 2022, they were already conducting drone delivery testing with a company called ANRA Technologies.
Drones in 2022.
Yeah. So we are talking about a top-tier, highly complex logistical machine that tracks millions of moving variables in real time.
Which makes the premise of this deep dive so wild to me. Because if Swiggy is this towering multi-billion-dollar giant testing drones and delivering to moving trains, what on earth is a Swiggy clone app?
I know, the name is a bit misleading.
Yeah, the word clone inherently sounds like a little illicit. It sounds like someone copying and pasting proprietary code in some dark basement somewhere.
It sounds totally shady, but it is actually the complete democratization of that exact high-level technology.
Wow.
A white label clone app is essentially a ready-made, highly scalable software solution. It is a script pre-written by development agencies to mimic the core functionalities of an app like Swiggy.
But it's legal.
Oh, completely legal, provided you aren't violating any copyrights or trademarks.
Yeah.
You aren't stealing Swiggy's logo or hacking their servers. You are just licensing a structural framework that operates on the exact same proven business model.
Okay, let's unpack this with an analogy because I think it helps visualize it. It sounds a lot like buying a model home in a newly developed neighborhood.
Oh, yeah. That's a good way to look at it.
Right. The hardest, most expensive parts are already finished.
Right.
The plumbing is installed. The electrical wiring is routed through the walls. The foundation is poured and set. You don't have to hire a structural engineer to figure out if the roof is going to cave in when it snows. You just buy the house. And then you get to decide what color to paint the walls, what furniture to bring in, and who you want to invite over. It is 100% customizable to your brand.
What's fascinating here is that analogy captures the appeal perfectly, especially when you consider the financial reality of building software.
Because it's expensive.
Insanely expensive. Building an app from scratch requires massive capital just to see if the basic buttons work. You are paying developers to reinvent the wheel over and over.
Right.
By using a white label clone, a startup entirely skips the costly trial and error phase of software architecture.
They just bypass it.
Exactly. You save capital, you save months or even years of time, and you can focus your energy entirely on what actually makes a business survive.
Which is what?
Marketing, building local partnerships and customer acquisition.
And the brilliant thing about this architecture is that it's completely agnostic.
Yeah, it doesn't care what you're selling.
Right. The software doesn't care if it's tracking a chicken biryani or, like, a bouquet of roses. You can take this exact same blueprint and adapt it for pharmacy deliveries, alcohol, groceries, meat, laundry services, or even ticket booking.
Because at its core, it is simply a hyper-local delivery engine. It just connects users with nearby local providers efficiently. But the mechanics of how it does that are incredibly intricate.
Yeah, let's get into the weeds a bit.
When you look under the hood, a clone app isn't just one app you download from the store. It is a synchronized ecosystem of 4 distinct platforms.
I really want to dig into that mechanism.
Yeah.
Because if I download a food delivery app, I just see a menu and a checkout screen.
Right, it looks simple.
But there are actually 4 pieces of software running simultaneously here.
Exactly.
First, you have the customer app. That's one you and I use. It has the advanced search filters, the order customization, push notifications, multiple payment gateways, and that real-time GPS tracking.
Yeah. And then you have the restaurant app. That's the interface the business owner uses. They use it to manage their profile, update menus, add photos, but crucially, it features real-time status availability.
Why is that crucial?
Because it actively manages customer expectations by syncing with the kitchen's actual capacity. Yeah, it prevents someone from ordering a highly complex meal when the kitchen is like 10 minutes from closing or completely overwhelmed with in-house diners.
That makes total sense. And then you have the third piece, which is the rider app. I was actually surprised to learn why this needs to be entirely separate software.
It's totally different tech requirements.
Yeah, a driver's interface needs completely different GPS refresh rates and battery optimization compared to a customer who's just browsing high-res photos of sushi.
Exactly.
It tracks their location, logs order history, and allows them to actively accept or decline orders, which is huge. Because if a driver's all the way across town, they just tap decline, and the system instantly pings the next closest rider. It saves them massive amounts of time and gasoline.
And tying it all together is the fourth component, the admin panel.
Right, the boss level.
Yeah, this is the central nervous system for the person who actually owns the startup. It is where you manage the content, oversee the users, verify the restaurants, monitor the riders, and dive into all the analytics and financial reports.
Okay, here is where I have to push back a little bit.
Right, go for it.
Managing 4 separate apps sounds like an absolute nightmare. It's less like a single piece of software and more like, I don't know, a symphony orchestra.
That's a good way to put it.
The customer, the restaurant, and the rider are all playing totally different instruments. But how do you actually conduct that symphony without it turning into a total cacophony?
It's tough.
Like coordinating a hungry customer, a busy kitchen, a driver navigating rush hour traffic, and a server processing a credit card all at the exact same millisecond. It seems like it would collapse into chaos the second you get more than 10 orders.
And it absolutely would if a human being were trying to act as the dispatcher.
Right.
But the hidden brain of this entire operation is the algorithm. Because you have 4 apps talking to each other at the exact same second, you rely on asynchronous development environments, things like Node.js.
Node.js.
Yeah. That is just a technical way of saying the system can process a credit card, update the driver's GPS, and send a push notification to the kitchen simultaneously without the app freezing or crashing.
So the algorithm is essentially playing air traffic controller.
Exactly. And it isn't just reacting to orders. It's actively predicting them.
Predicting them, like guessing what I'm going to eat.
Precisely. Order prediction doesn't just mean knowing that 6 p.m. is dinner time. It means the algorithm realizes it is raining on a Sunday during football season.
Oh, wow.
So it automatically alerts local pizza places to prep extra dough 2 hours before the rush even starts.
That is incredibly smart.
It uses demand forecasting to ensure enough drivers are logged into the network in specific neighborhoods before the surge happens. And it uses routing optimization that doesn't just look at distance. It literally calculates left turns versus right turns in heavy traffic to find the fastest path to the customer's door.
Okay, so if the algorithm is doing the work of 100 dispatchers in real time, it sounds incredibly expensive to run. Let's talk about the economics.
Yeah, let's get into the money.
How does a startup possibly afford to buy this setup? And once they have it, how does it actually generate revenue?
Well, the revenue streams are far more diverse than just tacking a $3 delivery fee onto a user's bill.
Obviously.
The core engine is the commission from restaurants, which usually ranges from 10 to 30% of each order.
30% is a big chunk.
It is. But you also have advertising and promotions. Restaurants will pay a premium to have their listing featured at the very top of the app when a user opens it.
Oh, like sponsored listings.
Exactly. Plus, you earn service fees to cover packaging, and you can even monetize the in-app wallet transaction fees if a user preloads money into their account.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. Owning one of these clone apps is essentially like owning a digital shopping mall.
Yeah, totally.
You are the landlord charging the restaurant's rent. That's your 10 to 30% commission just to have a storefront in your building.
Yep.
You are selling billboard space in the central atrium for those featured advertising spots. And then you're offering the customers VIP valet parking, which brings us to the holy grail of these platforms, the subscription model.
The subscription model completely changes the math for a startup.
How so?
Customers pay a monthly or yearly fee for perks like free delivery or exclusive loyalty points. For the app owner, this is transformative.
Because it's guaranteed money.
Exactly. It takes the chaotic, completely unpredictable volume of daily orders and converts it into stable, predictable, recurring revenue.
That makes total sense.
And simultaneously, it incentivizes the user to only ever order from your app. Because, they want to justify the cost of their subscription. You basically lock them into your ecosystem.
So what does it actually cost to build this digital mall?
Yeah.
Because the technology behind it uses the exact same tools as the biggest tech companies in the world.
Oh, yeah. Front-end frameworks like React, cloud hosting on AWS or Google Cloud, payment integration with Stripe.
Right. But the price tag is wildly variable, isn't it?
Extremely variable.
From what we looked at, a basic setup starts around $10,000, and a highly complex custom on-demand version might hit $40,000. But the real variable here is geography.
The cost difference based on location is just staggering. If you hire an agency or developers in India to build and customize this app, the total estimated cost for the whole project ranges from $8,000 to $30,000.
Okay.
But if you try to build that exact same app using developers in the United States, the cost skyrockets to between $80,000 and $300,000.
$300,000, which really highlights the strategic advantage of white labeling. It effectively gives a bootstrapped startup in Ohio or London the purchasing power and tech infrastructure of a massive Silicon Valley player simply by bypassing the geographical cost of development.
Yes.
You get a $300,000 machine for a fraction of the price.
It levels the playing field tremendously. But as seamless as the technology is, we have to ground this in reality for a second.
Look, let's bring it back down to earth.
When you launch a clone app, you are not launching Swiggy.
Right. You don't have their momentum.
Exactly. You are launching a vulnerable startup. You have a smaller, unproven user base. You don't have a massive network of officially trained delivery personnel. You are basically relying on local gig workers.
And the challenges are fierce.
Yeah.
You have to convince local restaurant owners who, let's be honest, are already stressed and busy to take a chance on an unknown platform.
Which is a hard sell.
Yeah. You have to ensure total data security because you are handling people's credit cards and home addresses, and you are going up against absolute titans in the industry.
Massive giants.
Like Zvano is Swiggy's biggest rival in India, operating in over 500 cities and offering table reservations. You have Deliveroo pushing their Deliveroo Plus global subscription. You have Eatsure differentiating itself with high-level dietary customization and gourmet healthy meals.
But competition is everywhere.
So what does this all mean? If I can buy a clone app for $10,000 and my neighbor can buy one and anyone listening to this can buy one, aren't we all just bringing a butter knife to a gunfight?
It can definitely feel that way.
I mean, how do you possibly win against a billion-dollar giant like Uber Eats or DoorDash when they have endless capital and universal brand recognition?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the answer is simple. You don't fight them on their terms.
Okay.
Trying to beat Zomato or Uber Eats globally or even nationally is a fool's errand. The true value of a clone app relies entirely on defining a unique selling proposition, a USP.
Right. You do not win by being everything to everyone. You win by getting hyper-local and hyper-specific. You have to find a customer whose specific daily friction points are being completely ignored by the massive generalized platforms.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Think about the last time you ordered food on a college campus.
Oh, man. It's impossible.
Right. The dormitories are a maze. The delivery driver gets lost, they can't get past the security gate, they are calling you from the wrong parking lot, and by the time you actually get your food, it's ice cold.
Every single time.
Well, a company called Easy Eats realized that your frustration was their multi-thousand-dollar business opportunity.
And their story is the perfect validation of the hyperlocal strategy.
Let's talk about them.
They used a custom clone solution called Enatega to build their app. But the software wasn't the secret to their success. It was how they deployed it.
Easy Eats was started by college students who tailored their unique selling proposition entirely to dormitory life.
Yeah, they focused on a very specific pain point. First, they exclusively employed other student drivers. These drivers already lived on campus. They knew exactly where every single dorm room was. They had the key cards to get into the buildings, and they never got stuck at security.
Which is brilliant. They solved the last-mile delivery problem simply by hiring people who already had access to the final mile.
Exactly. And second, they built a group ordering feature. If you have 4 roommates who want to order late-night food, usually one person pays, and then everyone is doing mental math trying to figure out who owes what for taxes and tip.
Or constantly sending each other money on Venmo.
Right, it's so annoying. But Easy Eats built a feature where roommates could easily split a massive order right inside the app before the order was even placed.
This raises an important question, though, about how businesses solve problems today, because it's a brilliant identification of friction.
Yeah.
They utilized a clean UI, streamlined the onboarding process to hire a fresh batch of student drivers at the start of every single semester, and integrated an automated wallet system that paid the riders and the local campus restaurants instantly.
And the students on campus, they didn't care that Uber Eats was a global brand. They just cared that their food actually made it directly to their dorm room door while it was still hot.
Exactly.
Easy Eats completely bypassed the billion-dollar giants. They won $25,000 in a startup competition called Greenlight Maine, and they expanded to nearby universities.
This represents an incredible shift in power for anyone looking to build a business today.
How so?
Well, for the longest time, the technology itself was the moat.
Right.
Only the massive giants could afford to hire the software engineers necessary to build a routing algorithm or an asynchronous payment gateway.
Yeah, you needed millions just to start.
But today, the technology is just a commodity. You can literally buy it off the shelf.
Like buying that model home.
Exactly. The software is merely the vehicle. Understanding your specific customer is the moat. Empathy for the user's specific friction points is the destination. Easy Eats won because they understood the pain of living in a dorm better than a programmer sitting in a corporate office thousands of miles away.
So, to sort of synthesize this deep dive for you, the barrier to entry for complex, real-time logistics platforms has essentially vanished.
Completely vanished.
With a few $1,000s in a couple of weeks, you can deploy a customized, hyper-local delivery machine that leverages the exact same technical architecture as the industry titans.
It's incredible.
But having the tool doesn't guarantee success. The ultimate victory still comes down to human factors. It's about executing a unique selling proposition, building real local trust, and finding a specific niche that the giants have overlooked because they are simply too big to see it.
The tools are democratic. The strategy and the empathy are what set you apart.
And that leads to a final thought we want to leave you with to mull over. We spent this entire time talking about the restaurant industry.
Right.
About perfectly timing a pizza delivery from a local kitchen to a living room. But if $10,000 in 2 weeks can perfectly clone the routing, distribution, and logistical network of a major tech platform, what happens when we apply this exact same white label model to critical public services?
Oh, wow. It changes the entire paradigm of civic infrastructure.
Imagine a neighborhood spinning up its own localized, community-owned emergency response network overnight.
Or like a microgrid energy sharing app where neighbors can seamlessly route excess solar power to each other's homes.
Exactly. Using the exact same algorithm we currently use to track a late-night burger delivery.
That is a fascinating thought.
If the tech is already built, tested, and waiting to be customized, what does that mean for the future of how communities govern, protect, and support themselves? Suddenly, that $1.92 trillion food delivery market feels like it's just the testing ground for something much, much bigger.
The architecture is there, it just needs the right visionary to apply it.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the tools around you, keep looking for those friction points, and we will catch you next time.